You can't get any ship of any real size in here regularly to this side of the port. It was a fishing port. It wasn't doing well. And so this is all kind of beat up. And what they were thinking about was in 1920, the story of the Mayflower started becoming important. The whole thing of the immigrants. 1920. So they decided to really do something with that. And the President of the United States came here. They did this big thing on the 300th anniversary of the Mayflower landing. They bought the whole waterfront of Plymouth Port. They ripped out all of it from that pier to there's a pier you'll see over there. They put in what you see here and they landscaped it. And they created the Plymouth you see today. This statue is part of it. It's called the Pilgrim Mother. It's in honor, really, of the women, the mothers and daughters who were on the Mayflower. There were 29 females on the Mayflower. Let's go back and look at some of the names. Now you look at the names here, you see a lot of standard English female names. That's 29 females. Mary, Mary, then you get one like Remember. Eleanor, Mary, Mary, Sarah, Elizabeth, Constance. And then you get down here, you hit Humility, Desire. Those names, Priscilla could go either way, but it could be. Constance, most likely. What you're looking at when you see those names, those are the daughters of the church members. The group that came over to Plymouth, there's several things that were really unusual about them. First of all, they came as families. Most of the earliest settlements in North America were men coming here to land to extract wealth of one kind or another. Like if you go to Mexico, these were soldiers, miners, fishermen. Those were male-only expeditions. Here, these are families. And that made a big difference. We'll get into that a little bit later. But you can see those names, Remember and Humility and Damaris, those names especially represent the folks, we call them separatists or pilgrims. They were the church people. They were part of a group that had vision that they were somehow going to recover the faith of the first church. By doing that, they consciously were breaking with tradition. It is typical with groups like that for them to name their children not after their ancestors or by what's the passing vogue at time, but after something that means something. So you'll find in the first generations, and even later it becomes a tradition, the first generations of the Pilgrim settlers, many of the early settlers in New England, many of these unusual names. For instance, William Brewster, the elder of the church, had two sons called Love and Wrestling. The English names for the different Hebrew words that he read in the Bible. So he called his two sons Love and Wrestling. You find many unusual names in that generation because they had a sense that they were really trying to recover something. Now you got 29 names there. Of those 29, 18 of them are women married or unmarried, daughters or mothers who lost their lives and their families simply died out. We do not know their names. They were never written down. Everything was entered with so-and-so, wife, daughter, son. That's how they wrote it down. If they didn't live, those family names were never remembered. They're buried here, and we'll never know them. And so you'll see those blanks in different places that we go along because that's just it. So there you can see it. Now, to say that some of these folks were really focused in wanting to sort of be the true church doesn't mean that the other people were like heathens. They were all pretty much English people. They had a sense that they all were familiar with the Bible. They all could be described, I'd say pretty much, by that description that was put at the base of the statue. They brought up their families in sturdy virtue and a living faith in God without which nations perish. So that puts you, but to keep in mind that 50-50 split, because that plays a role in a lot of things that ends up developing in Plymouth. Let's go this way.